All right, so we're going to go through our triangle classifications. And so if we look at scalene, how many congruent sides does a scalene triangle have? And that is none. And so therefore, when we go to mark our triangle, we would mark it such that we would have be able to show that none of the sides are the same. How many congruent sides must an isosceles triangle have? That is 2. Can it have more? Yes. Can it have less? No. So if we mark the sides of the triangle, that would give us this side and this side. How many congruent sides must an equilateral have? And that is 3. Can it have more? No, because there's only 3 sides. Can it have less? No, because we need all 3 to be the same. And if we look at that, we can mark all 3 sides. So if we look at this, let's classify by angles. And so we have a right triangle has exactly 1. Right angle. And obtuse has exactly 1. Obtuse angle. An acute triangle has 3 acute angles. And we know that those 3 angles of an acute triangle that is equal angular is that they each have to equal 60 degrees. So now let's look at being able to use some of this information to find out a missing value. So we're looking for x in each one of the following problems in 2 through 5. Okay. And you can see that it's telling us what we're going to use to be able to set up and to solve this problem. And so the first thing here, we are looking for x, and you can see that we are given the 3 interior angles of the triangle. And so we're going to use our triangle sum theorem, which tells us that the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. And so we would be taking 4x minus 7 plus 2x plus 3 plus 5x plus 8, and that is going to equal 180 degrees. And so you take a second and solve that equation. Combine your like terms. And we're going to find out that x is equal to 16, but it asks us to classify the triangle. So we can't go by what it looks like. We actually need to find the measurements here. So if I say 2 times 16 plus 3, that's going to give me 35 degrees for this one. 4 times 16 minus 7, that's going to give me 57 degrees for this one. If we look at 5 times 16 plus 8, that's going to give us 88 degrees for this one. And since those are all less than 90, this is an acute triangle. If we look over to number 3, number 3 gives us a hint to use our exterior angle theorem. And what this tells us is if we have this exterior angle here, 5x plus 8, it is equal to the sum of these 2 interior angles. So that's going to be 4x minus 7 and 2x plus 3. And so that is the equation that we are going to be setting up and that we need to solve for x, starting by combining some like terms on the right side. And we should get x equals 12. In this one, that's all that they ask us to do, so we are finished with the problem. Over here, we had to find x is equal to 16, and then it asked us to classify the triangle, so we did have to go a step further. Okay, let's go ahead and jump down to number 4. And number 4, we look at this. This is an isosceles triangle. We can see that those two sides are congruent there. And so this angle here would be my vertex angle. And what I would know, if I have 180 degrees in that triangle sum, and if I take out the 20 that's the vertex angle, that's going to leave me with 160 to split between these two angles. And so that would mean that this angle is 80 as well as this angle is 80. And so if I know that 5x plus 8 is the expression representing that, I can set that equal to 80 and solve that equation. And x is going to equal to 72 over 5. If we look at the next one here, part B, we can see that we have our base angles. And so that would mean that this side is congruent to this side. And we can set up the equation 4x minus 7 is equal to 2x plus 3. And we can then solve that equation to get x equals 5. If we look and try to apply what we know about the equilateral and equal angular triangle theorem, what we would see is that if all of our sides are congruent, then it's equilateral, which means it is also equal angular. And so we would know that that 180 triangle sum would be divided by 3 to 60. And so that this would be 2x plus 4 would have to equal 60. And then if I solve that, the x is going to equal 28. If you check yourself here, 28 times 2 plus 4, that is going to give us 56 plus 4, which would be 60. If we look at B, we're looking at that it is equal angular, and so therefore we know that it's going to be equilateral. And so we know that these sides are going to have to be congruent. And so I'm going to be able to take that 5x plus 8 and set it equal to 73. And if I take and solve this, then I'm going to get that x is equal to 13.